For I am the devil himself. Yeah, I couldn't play MJF's music, but I just wanted to repeat that line he repeated when he was in the pitch black. I should have recorded something like similar to what he did when he made his return at All Out this year. Because we've now entered the era of Maxwell Jacob Friedman. On top. Could he maybe be on top until the bidding war of 2024? I love that line. The bidding war of 2024. That'll be some good shit. But guys, what is going on? This is the Club of the Man, 1993 here once again. And we are live for the second time tonight for my live review of last night's pay-per-view. AEW Full Gear 2022. The last pay-per-view of 2022 for AEW. And it took place last night, November 19th, 2022. Saturday night, not Sunday night, as John Moxley kept getting mixed up on Dynamite this past week. And it took place at the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. Just a little bit south, of course, of MJF's hometown of Long Island, New York. Of course, the crowd was super hot for MJF tonight, and for several other people as well, especially Jamie Hayter. But we will talk about everything that took place at Full Gear, and overall, I definitely enjoyed it a little bit better than All Out. I thought it was a fun show. All matches delivered. Even the weakest one, the TBS title, was decent. Of course, the problem thing that also hurt this show a little bit, the crowd. The crowd, for Newark was good, but it definitely died off a little bit going into the second hour of the show. Like, I still felt bad because the crowd was tired during one of the most important matches of the show, in my opinion, which was Saraya and Britt Baker. It was Britt Baker's return. Not Britt Baker's. Saraya's return match to the ring. I still think it should not have followed that Ring of Honor World Title match, because that match, holy smokes, was that awesome. Not my match of the night, though. I still think we all know, obviously, the obvious match of the night was, and what it's leading to also, which was that Trios tag title match, and the return of the Elite. Well, it wasn't quite that for their intro, as they had a brand new intro, but we'll get in and talk about it. But I overall did enjoy Full Gear. Thought it was a great show. Again, all matches were great. Not really a match of the year candidate on this show, but the show delivered. I had fun, and that's, again, all I want. I still, again, as long as AEW puts on shows like this, it's okay that the show's dipped in quality. Yes, they got to stop, giving too much time to the Ring of Honor titles. Yes, the whole media scrum thing from All Out's still a thing. Punk is going on MMA commentary and saying that, a locker room can't handle me or whatever heck he said. Yes, I get it, but can we please just move past that? Okay? The Elite's back. Whether Punk comes back or not, I don't care anymore. I literally do not care. My opinion still stands is I feel like all parties involved had their issues. All parties involved all had, things that they were guilty of. There was things that felt that could have been avoided, of course. Yes, CM Punk didn't have to throw a hissy fit, but I also understand why he's frustrated, because, again, the person you should be blaming for Colt Cabana not getting on TV is not CM Punk. It's the man who looked at CM Punk as the bigger draw, and that is Tony Khan. But I'm not going to go on a rant again, because, again, I want to put that in the rearview mirror. I'm sorry. Again, I am done talking about that media scrum. I am done talking about CM Punk. If he comes back, fine. If he doesn't come back, fine. I'm done talking about it. I'm done talking about it. If we ever do get a final answer of what the heck's going to happen with him, I will do one last video about that just to put that and put an end on the hatchet. Get my honest thoughts out there, because I am so done with wrestling just being like such a divided crowd. You know, there's the WWE and AEW, split thing. You can't like both. You have to like one and hate the other. I'm done with that. I'm done with that competition. If you like both, cool. If you only like one of them, fine. But personally for me, I'm still enjoying both shows. I still have reasons to enjoy both brands. And this show to me showed that AEW can still do it. I enjoyed this show. I thought all the matches delivered. Yes, again, the crowd got a little bit burned out, but I think all the matches were worth watching, in my opinion. It was a great show. We do have Tyler in a live chat. MJF is champion. I think if Punk did not run his mouth, he was going to face and drop the world title. Oh, yes, definitely. Definitely the match would have been MJF versus CM Punk, and MJF would have won the title from CM Punk. For sure. But, of course, because of what happened, we got Jon Moxley doing it instead. But I do think now it would be the best time to give Jon Moxley that vacation he was supposed to get after All Out. So, take your breather, Jon. You deserve it. Everything you've done for the company, you've stepped up, you've been a leader. I think, again, you deserve a break. Take the break. Take the 6-week break you need. We'll see you back in 2023. Let's roll it now and get started and talk about the show. Because we did have 13 matches in the end, including the pre-show, which is now called the 0 Hour instead of the buy-in. I did not watch it. Main show only had 10 matches. They cut back on matches, thank goodness. And pay-per-view was like about 3 hours and 45 minutes, back to what it was before. Fine. But yeah, so I guess the 3 pre-show matches, 0 Hour matches. The first one was a 10-man tag match with Best Friends, Rocky Romero, and Danhausen versus The Factory. I guess Danhausen was Evilhausen in this match or something like that. I guess he can be a badass. I can't remember what the whole thing was. But it led to the Best Friends, Danhausen, and Rocky Romero winning. Of course, it's The Factory. Do you really think The Factory is going to do much business? See what I did there? Haha. No. It was also announced that Konosuke Takeshita is full-time All Elite. Don't know much about him, but we'll see what he does. We also had the semifinals of the final semifinal match on the 0 Hour of the AEW World Title Eliminator Tournament, and it was Brian Cage and Ricky Starks, former Team Taz members, as I hope, because Ricky Starks did beat Lance Storm on Friday on Rampage, and Ricky Starks beat Brian Cage here. So this coming week on Dynamite, we will get Ricky Starks versus Ethan Page, and then the winner goes on to fight MJF at AEW Winter is Coming for the AEW World Championship, which I still think should be at this point, of course, Ricky Starks. That would be a very, very interesting feud to do for sure for the world title. I'm excited for that. Because now also, I gotta say this too, and we all know by this point we're watching that MJF won the main event. What is the point now of the firm? Like, if the firm and MJF still aren't good terms, I mean, yes, now that we of course know who, MJF is aligned with now, what was the point of the firm? Like, now the firm looks completely pointless, in my opinion. Like, to me, they're no better than the Factory. I'm sorry, there's some guys in that stable I like, Ethan Page, yes, I know I kind of ranted on him saying how, he's good, but to me, I still don't feel him, I can't take him as a serious contender for a world championship right now still. TNT title mid-card, yes. World champion? No, I'm not feeling it yet for him. You know how much of a big W. Morrissey fan I am, so I'm not gonna knock him. But like, the Gun Club, nah. Lee Moriarty, still on the rise. He's not really impressed me too much yet. A little bit, but not that much. But again, they just feel very pointless now. So why they're a thing, I don't know. But and then of course the third 0-hour match was Eddie Kingston versus Jun Akiyama. Eddie won, and afterwards Akiyama did show a sign of respect to Eddie Kingston, which this is a good match for Eddie because apparently Jun Akiyama is Eddie Kingston's favorite wrestler of all time, and he's the reason why Eddie Kingston became a wrestler. So this was kind of like a special moment for him. So with that, of course, I do commemorate Eddie for having that moment to be able to share the ring with the reason why he's in the ring today. But those were the 3 0-hour matches. We get to the main card. I originally predicted the Ring of Honor World Title match to open the show. Nope. We got this steel cage match instead between Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, and it was outstanding. Now, I noticed, though, that to my surprise, I guess in AEW for a steel cage match, you can't win by escape. So there really wasn't too much protection to who would lose this match. But there was great use of the cage. I know Luchasaurus did slam Jungle Boy into the cage several times that he got busted open. Jungle Boy bled a lot in this match. I know Christian Cage did get involved and opened the door and slid like a table and a couple other weapons into the cage. But I think he got ejected. I did have a little bit of streaming issues at the beginning, so I did kind of miss a couple spots in this match. But for what I saw, again, the match was excellent. Excellent use of the cage. Excellent uses of everything. There was a moment in the match where Jungle Boy, I think had to pick up Luchasaurus and hit him with a pile driver. I wasn't able to put him away. I think, again, Jungle Boy wore out the stronger arm of Luchasaurus, so that way Luchasaurus couldn't beat him with the choke slam because he was using his weaker hand. For what I saw as well. But again, Jungle Boy took some very, very brutal spots that looked like he was going to be doomed several times in this match. But of course, he finally gets a table in there, and I believe he actually whacked almost getting mixed up there. I believe he whacked Luchasaurus in the face with the steel chair. And excuse me. And then Jungle Boy, who I thought was going to just climb to the top rope and do like a splash or whatnot through the thing. Nope. Jungle Boy climbed all the way to the very top of the steel cage, jumps off the top, and does an avalanche crashing elbow through Luchasaurus to the table. He didn't quite get all of it because he did hit Luchasaurus with the elbow, and he kind of bounced off him, and then the table just broke after he had fallen away. Okay, that was a little hurt a little bit, but it was still it still got the job done. And off that elbow, Jungle Boy was able to get Luchasaurus to tap out to the snare trap. So they're even at 1 apiece. I'm pretty sure we may see one more match between them. Maybe either Winter is Coming or New Year's Smash. I say save it for New Year's Smash. And hopefully at the beginning of March, hopefully we do see Christian Cage be healed by then. And we get the long-awaited rematch between Jungle Boy and Christian Cage. And of course, we would eventually then move on from this feud. But that's the position they're going to. But yeah, great move there, giving Jungle Boy the win. Again, I thought this was a phenomenal use of the steel cage. Great use of the weapons. Jungle Boy looked awesome. Luchasaurus, looks great in there as well. I thought it was excellent. So that's how we started off the show. Then we got this trios tag match for the AEW Trios Championship between Death Triangle, the current champions, Pac, Rey Fenix, and Penta El Zero, Miedo, Settle, Miedo, versus the returning Elite. Of course, the first time we've seen them since the whole media scrum thing. But they returned, and not only did they returned to a new theme, the Carry All My Wayward Sons theme or whatnot. It was pretty cool, I'll be honest. And the match, again, was just awesome. Again, you can put Pac and Omega in there, and they'll have an awesome match. You can put the Young Bucks and the Lucha Bros in there, and we all know they're going to have outstanding matches. Great near falls, great, super kick parties, the BT triggers. It was a crasher of a mess. And then, of course, the big story of the match, too, came where Pac gave, of all people... Now, here's the thing. I could see, like Pac, being the heel. Penta El Zero Miedo will probably be the next person I would say to side with Pac. With Pac. Rey Fenix, I feel like, is the last of the three of them who would roll with the heel tactics. But Pac gave Rey Fenix a hammer. The hammer. And he was refusing to use it. But then towards the end of the match, Kenny Omega put Rey Fenix up for the One-Winged Angel. And I still think to this day, the only person that's kicked out of the One-Winged Angel so far is Hangman Adam Page, from what I believe. That's right, he wasn't on this card. Oh, that's right, he's hurt. I forgot Hangman's hurt. Hopefully, and he's doing well from that, blow he took from Moxley, which, of course, Mox didn't mean to do. But anyways, Omega had Rey Fenix up for the One-Winged Angel. As he goes to hit the One-Winged Angel, Phoenix, out of desperation, again, the last person, in my opinion, in the group to do this, pulled out the hammer and clocked Omega in the head with it. And I don't think the referee saw it, but knocked out Kenny Omega as he rolled in to do the One-Winged Angel. Rey Fenix rolled him up with a schoolboy pin. And to my surprise, Death Triangle retained over the Elite. And they even pinned Kenny Omega. Again, they cheated, but this idea that, again, Rey Fenix used the hammer, it's like, dang. Like, Penta El Zero Miedo, I could have seen doing it. Rey Fenix, though, I feel like is the one you would least expect out of the three. But this match was still awesome. Again, you can put these guys anytime in a match, and it's going to be great. And it was that great that later in the show they announced that was the first of a best of 7 series. That's right, we're getting 6 more matches between this group. Take my money. Take my money, it'll be awesome. Are they all for the Trios tag titles? I'm pretty sure they would be, so you're probably going to at least see a little bit of swapping back and forth, but that's fine. They could, give Death Triangle another victory here, then have, maybe the Elite win the titles, a couple, 2 or 3 wins in a row or something, and then have, Death Triangle even back up until we get to because I think from what I saw, I think the 7th match would take place in LA. And that's pretty important too. So I'm pretty sure it's going to go to all 7 matches to get to LA. But oh man, like I said, we all know all 6 of these guys work phenomenal together. So we're going to be in for some pretty good matches over the next 6 weeks for these Trios tag titles. And hopefully by then we will have House of Black back, and we could do House of Black versus the Elite. That would be great. Heck, if something happens, Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly get healthy, maybe they can bring back Bobby Fish, maybe? Who knows? But I still want to see that feud. The Elite versus the Undisputed Era. Can't guarantee we'll see that, of course, but that would be rocking it, I believe so. So, yeah, we have that. Then we had the weakest match on the card, but I still thought it was decent. The TBS title match between Jade Cargill and Nyla Rose. This was decent. Again, the build was crap. I hated the build. But these two are still great in the ring. I thought, they did decent. Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero came out in a car in honor of Eddie Guerrero, of course, who, again, this past week, I believe, was 17 years, I think, for Eddie's death, I think. Dang. But yeah, I think, and then Jade Cargill, I forgot which character she came out dressed as this time, but she came out, and the match was decent again. Like I said, I hated the story for this match, but, it was still a good match. They even did each other's finish maneuvers on them. It didn't work out. But eventually, Jade was able to hit the Jaded on Nyla Rose, and she retained the TBS title. Not, losing it to, not, this whole thing with, Nyla Rose stole the title and she calls herself the TBS champion, but she really wasn't. Very strange, heel on heel feud. I don't know now again who's going to be the one to dethrone Jade Cargill. I heard apparently the Athena turned heel on Rampage this past week. But it would still be odd, a heel Athena versus the heel Cargill also. But I don't know. Or maybe they'll have Chris Statlander when she comes back. How much longer is Statlander supposed to be out for? Because wasn't she supposed to get her title match at All Out? I think that's what it was. So I think she had a knee injury, so I think she's been out since August. So September, October, November, it's only 3 months. She's going to be out for December, January, February. She could maybe be back in time for Revolution, if not Double or Nothing. But I'm guessing maybe Chris Statlander could be the one to dethrone Jade Cargill. And then maybe have Athena drop the belt, beat her for the belt, maybe? Could be, I don't know. But I do want to see, this heel turn, though, from Athena. Because I heard it was pretty good. She was supposed to turn heel, apparently, in NXT. But I guess they pulled the trigger on it and tried to make her a coach. Which, of course, she got released after that. But, yeah, we'll see what happens, though. But this was decent. The weakest match on the card for sure, but it was still decent. What was not weak at all, though, another one of my favorite matches of the night, personally, was this Ring of Honor World Title match. Fatal 4-way match between Chris Jericho, Bryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, and Sammy Guevara. Again, I have given the Ring of Honor titles crap lately because, again, I'm tired of seeing, overshadowing, the AEW titles, because again, like I said, I feel like they've put more time in the Ring of Honor World Title more than the AEW World Title, in my opinion. But I wasn't going to knock the fact that this match, with all 4 people that's in it, this match is going to be awesome. And it was. We had, obviously the beginning with, Blackpool Combat Club sticking together, JAS members sticking together. But obviously, Castagnoli and Danielson, they obviously had the sign of respect that, okay, we're shaking hands, but we know people want to see us go at it too. Anything goes for the title. It's one, every man for himself, basically. So they had a lot of good moments. And dang, seeing them fight again, Danielson and Castagnoli, just made me want to. I think one time Brian said he wants to do an hour long match. Which, okay, he's done that with Hangman already. But dang, would I love to see a 60-minute Iron Man match with Bryan Danielson and Claudio Castagnoli. But honestly, the person that stood out to me in this match that did outstanding, that honestly was my favorite person in this match, ended up being Sammy Guevara. Which I thought Sammy was only in this match just to eat the pin. Oh no. He almost won the title. I think if anyone came close, yes, we did have Castagnoli kick out of the Psycho knee. I think we had someone kick out of a code breaker. We even, of course, saw Jericho and Sammy kind of turn on each other. Because I think Jericho there was a moment in the match where both Jericho and Sammy were staring down the title. And Jericho tells Sammy, like, stay right there. Goes with a pinfall. Of course, it was not enough. But I think it was after Jericho hit the lion salt that he landed on both Danielson and Guevara is where Sammy turned on Jericho. Well, for the match. I think it's just a temporary. They're not going to full on turn each other like yet. What was it? Oh yeah, my favorite part of the match was again, like I said, Sammy was my favorite part of this match. He had, hit the Spanish flies. Again, you may hate him. He obviously is great at generating heat. You cannot deny, though, he is one of the best talents in the company. This man, I kid you not, I thought he had won when this happened. So I think him and Jericho teased getting back on the same page. They shook hands. I mean, they hugged it out. They shook hands. But then, when Jericho goes to turn away, Sammy held on to the hand. He pulled Jericho up, hit the GTH, and then went to the top rope, hit a shooting star press on Jericho. I thought he had him. Jericho still kicked out. I thought he had him. I seriously thought Sammy was going to pull off the upset right there. There was like a time where I know Brian hit the Psycho knee, and it was like Cash Shinola, and Brian were working together, but then when Cash Shinola was taken, I think he had thrown Sammy, picked up Sammy and threw him out of the ring, and then Cash Shinola turned around, going to the flying knee, and he still kicked out. Like, it was, like I said, the story to this made no sense, having all four of these guys fight each other for no reason, but man, was it outstanding. The only thing that kind of bothers me a little, though, is Jericho retained, but he retained by pinning Claudio. And I think he may have botched the Judas effect. Because when he went to hit it, he only hit it, because he did it while Claudio was doing the big spin. The swing or whatnot, whatever he calls it now. And when he goes to the Judas effect, I guess he hit Cash Shinola in the shoulder. Because I saw him in the shoulder. And then as Cash Shinola getting up, he goes for a second Juice effect, and he knocks out Cash Shinola with the Juice effect there. So I do think that may have been a mistake, because the idea again is that I think at the pay-per-view next month for Ring of Honor, I think Cash Shinola is winning the Ring of Honor title back from him there. So yeah, that's the only thing I'll give this match. But other than that, it was outstanding. Like I said, everyone killed like a star. I still, if I had to pick one person that stood out the most this match to me, it was definitely Sammy Guevara. Like I said, that sequence he had on Jericho, I seriously thought he had him. But it was an awesome match. Definitely one of my favorite matches of the show. But once again, I still think that the Elite and Pac and the Elite versus Death Triangle was my best match of the show, in my opinion. But this was definitely either the second best or the third best, in my opinion. But outstanding stuff by these three veterans. And, of course, the young upstart as well, Guevara. Alright, I want to take a break for a quick second, because, the next match was pretty important to me, too. But I do want to go splash some water on my face, as I am getting a little bit tired. It's a little past 11. But I want to go splash some water on my face, so I will be right back. But yes, this Fatal 4-Way match was absolutely outstanding. One more match, and then I will check the live chat again. But this next match, I feel bad because I feel like this next match should not have followed this Fatal 4-Way, because I feel like the crowd was tired after this Fatal 4-Way match. But the next match was probably the match I was probably the most excited about for this show. And that is the in-ring return after 5 years of Saraya versus Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. First off, I do gotta ask this question. Because there's rumors circulating about how people are getting concerned about Adam Cole because he has not wrestled since June. I am definitely wondering, too, when he's going to be coming back. But is anybody concerned at all about Britt and Adam? Because I have not seen Britt post anything about Adam in the longest time. So I'm hoping they're still together, because they've been together for a long time, and I'd hate to see them split up. But again, I haven't seen anything about them at 8. But anyways, Saraya came out, and you can tell the moment she came out that yes, this was going to be a wrestling match, but she was not. The emotions she had, it was hard to contain them, but it's like, let them happen. Let them happen, because everything this woman, again, has been through since 2016, or in general, the message she's always tried to send since she stepped into a wrestling ring, to then get, set back by injuries and demons that she had wrestled, to exposures that was leaked of her and everything, to being told she would never wrestle again at the age of 25. And now 5 years later, she's 30 years old and she's getting that chance again. And having her brother at ringside was just even, more special. And again, hats off to Britt too. She definitely, told the right story. Again, the only thing that hurt this match for me is the crowd. I feel like this should not have followed that Fatal 4-Way. They should have, maybe put, Jeff Jarrett, the tag team match with Sting and Darby versus Jeff and Jay, because I wasn't as hyped for that, because I'm just not a big Jeff Jarrett fan. But I felt they should have put some type of cool down match before doing this match. Because, yes, the crowd was hot at the end, by the end of the match, but they were pretty silent during this match, which did kind of hurt it a little bit. I gave, if I give this match a grade, I give the B+, but the crowd was a little more into it. I feel like this did deserve to be an A- because of the moment this was. But Britt definitely told the right story. She targeted the neck of Saraya. And there was once or twice, the way she sold it, I'm like, oh God. I was worried, is she legitimately hurt or is she okay? And of course she was okay. Which, obviously, was scary at first, but that was just her selling it excellent. So many things happened. Britt even stomped Saraya, did the curb stomp on Saraya twice in the match. I thought she'd be done after one of those stomps. And of course, I think she did get the lockjaw in on Saraya as well, but she was able to roll out of that as well. And then, of course, I think one thing people didn't like, though, was also the fact that I think she did hit her page turner finish again. I don't know what she's calling her new move, her moves now that, she's now, of course, she can't call them, the page turner or rampage as her DDT finisher is. But she hit the page turner on Britt, and Britt kicked out of that. So I know some people weren't a fan of that. I'll be honest, neither was I. But I kind of understand it a little bit. Because if it was someone like Sky Blue or Red Velvet or somebody who's not really meant to be kicking out of high profile named finishers, I could get it there. But I kind of forget it a little because it's Britt Baker. And Saraya had to hit not one, but 2 rampages on Britt to win the match. And as soon as the 3 count went in, you saw, like, literally, like, she just, like, stepped out of character mode and just let the emotions just drip down. This woman was just so happy, so grateful that she got this chance. She got a big victory in her return match against one of the best in the business today. And I think they cut away, but I think there was a moment where it looked like Saraya, like, leaned back after the match and said something to Britt, probably, like, thanking her or something, or for, you know, or whatnot, and they kind of cut away from it. I don't care if that was a character break there at all. Like, it needed to happen. It was a moment, and of course, the crowd was on their feet for her. She got to go out there and embrace her brother. It was just awesome. Like, the fact that this woman is wrestling again is just, it means a lot to all of us. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to, you know, many people. Again, the message that she's always tried to send. You know, she's being rejected at first because she was a woman. You know, whenever she tried to join the wrestling business at 13, because she was the anti-diva. She was not a diva. Again, this whole movement that with Charlotte, Becky, Bayley, Sasha, all of them would not have probably existed if it weren't for Saraya. Because, you know, the character they had for her when she came back in 2017 was the right direction to go. Yes, she's liked, but she had to be the heel because, yes, you know, all these women made the statement, but it's like, hey, I was here first. I set this, you know, this up. And you all just walked right past me. So I'm taking back what's mine. And again, I know Tyler told me in the live chat, you know, in a recent stream, he disagrees with this. I'm sorry. I still think she should have been the one to end Asuka's undefeated streak. I'm sorry. If you wanted to gain, like, you know, that, like, you know, like, that role of, like, yes, I was the one who originally, you know, set this whole women's revolution thing up. Yes, like, I still think because of that, she should have been the one to end Asuka's undefeated streak. But she's back. She was excellent. Who she wrestles next, I don't know. But she did a great job. She was excellent in selling. You know, again, like I said, the only thing that hurt it, again, was the fact that the crowd was a little out of it. That's the only thing I thought that hurt it. But other than that, it was so great to see her wrestle, be so grateful for the moment. Again, even if she did break character and kind of like lean back and, like, you know, just like thank Britt or whatnot, you know, I'm not gonna hate her for it. Let her soak in that moment, because again, it's a moment she never thought she would have again after everything this woman's been through. Again, this woman, to me, is a hero. She's a hero, and she is a draw. I can tell you, by some point next year, she will be women's champion. She will be. And I can't wait to see when that moment happens. So, this was an excellent match. And then we had another pretty good match after this. This triple threat Haas fight between the TNT champion Wardlow, Powerhouse Hobbs, and the Ring of Honor World Television Champion Samoa Joe. This match was awesome as well. My favorite spots in the match was Wardlow doing some high-flying maneuvers. He did a few, you know, high-flying maneuvers here. Did a couple crossbodies. I think he did like a corkscrew moonsault type thing. I was surprised to see him doing that. He was awesome. Samoa Joe, of course, is great as always. And Powerhouse Hobbs. Again, you can tell Powerhouse Hobbs has improved a lot since when he had first turned heel and joined Team Taz. He's improved a lot, and I'm enjoying it. But towards the end of the finish, I kind of sensed it coming the way they booked it. Samoa Joe didn't seem like he was doomed. I think Wardlow went for the Power Bomb Symphony. I think he had hit one on Hobbs. Then he had a second one. And then off the third one, Samoa Joe comes back in and pushes Wardlow out of the way, and he gets Powerhouse Hobbs to pass out. Samoa Joe is now both your Ring of Honor World Television Champion and your TNT Champion as well. Now, again, I'm not going to deny, I did say in my preview that I felt that if Samoa Joe was to be a dual champ, he would have to, I would rather see him be both Ring of Honor and AEW World Champion, which someday hopefully happens. But for now, honestly, especially if they are going to give Ring of Honor their own show, which, dear God, I feel they should, if he is going to work both shows, why not give him your workhorse titles? Like, you're not your mid-card, but your workhorse titles that, defends the titles on TV on a decent basis. I would rather see, I'd be cool with that. Again, Wardlow will hopefully get his win back or get him into the main event scene, but this is still a pretty good Haas fight. And again, Wardlow, I still thought stole the show in this match, but great match. Joe looked great. Powerhouse Hobbs, again, has definitely improved a lot. Hats off to all three of these men. Actually, I meant to check the live chat. So before we move on to the next match, let us check the live chat. Tyler was watching the highlights of the show. I guess he didn't get to watch it live. Again, I didn't purchase it either. My friend and I streamed it off another site. We got Mark. I knew MJF was going to win. I was just surprised with who helped him. I kind of saw it coming, in my opinion, but that's totally fine. I wonder what the rest of the BCC thinks. That's what I'm wondering too. I'm intrigued to think what happens. Even though I do think this is going to lead to Jon Moxley taking that 6-week vacation he was supposed to take after All Out, which he deserves. Congrats to the new women's TNT and AEW World Champs, all new. Tyler thinks Jericho should go back to WWE. At one point, I think he will. He did just sign a new 3-year deal, though, so not yet. But I would kind of hope he would go back for one more quick run before he retires. But he is 52 now, and he's under a new 3-year deal. So we'll have to wait and see. I love seeing Saraya getting back into the ring. Who didn't? And Keith Lee needs to go back to WWE. Here's my thing with Keith Lee. Yes, I would like to see him go back, especially with Mia coming back. I'm like, damn, if only Keith Lee wasn't under contract with AEW. But I still feel like he is in good position with AEW. But someday, I wouldn't be opposed. I fulfill what he needed to do in AEW, and maybe someday he'll get to go back to WWE. Maybe too late for Brock Lesnar, but hey, if we ever get like a crossover show with like AEW and WWE, it is possible these days. You never know. But that match has to happen at some point. Keith Lee versus Brock Lesnar. Take my money. Take my God-forsaken money, and I will pay for that match. Would that be great? Speaking of, we just mentioned before, it was now a no DQ tag match with Darby Allin and Sting versus Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. Again, I just still don't really give a shit about Jeff Jarrett. Like, I like Jay Lethal, love Darby Allin, Sting. The match was like kind of like a filler, like car crashing type match. I still think it should have been after the Ring of Honor World Title match. That way, the crowd would have woken up a little bit more for Saraya and Britt Baker. But this match was still solid, I thought. I would say. Satnam Singh, though, got involved a lot. He got involved a lot. Eventually, Darby and Sting had to take him down with a double team of like a Scorpion Death Drop with a coffin drop on top of him. So that was it took me out of the match a little bit because I'm not really that impressed with Satnam Singh. But Jay Lethal looked good. Darby and Sting looked good as well. Sting, of course, did another crossbody off of a balcony too, which is not what he would never see him doing. But eventually, they did get the victory. So hopefully, we move on from this because again, Jeff Jarrett, not the biggest fan of him. But we had that match. Then, of course, we had the AEW Interim Women's World Championship. Oh, God. Look. A few months ago, when Punk's injury first happened, I was cool with doing this idea, but now just this whole thing with interim women's title or interim championship feels so overdone. And also mention the fact that, again, Thunder Rosa may not be back till the beginning of the year, but Tony didn't want her to drop the title. Apparently Thunder did want to drop the title, but it just sucks because now we have Toni Storm, who worked her ass off to make her title reign work. But now she's never going to be called an AEW Women's World Champion. She's also going to be known as an AEW Women's Interim World Champion, which is not fair at all. But I personally think they did make the right call and gave the belt to Jamie Hayter here. The crowd was so behind her. I mean, don't get me wrong, they love Toni Storm too, but the crowd was so hot behind Jamie. And, I thought at first, this would be a typical, well, the match happened, and I think when the crowd really got hot, especially more for Jamie, that's when, the near falls started happening. Some of the insane kickouts that happened in this match as well. It was a really great women's match. It by far exceeded what I expected. I would even say it was probably maybe a slight bit better than Saraya and Britt Baker. I mean, yes, that match showed that Saraya still had some ring rust, but it was still an excellent match from the selling and the storytelling and everything. But this match here, again, I think we had Jamie even hit a Storm Zero on Toni Storm, but crazy back and forth. Rebel got involved, but then she got ejected. And then Britt Baker got involved too. I think Tony had kicked out of a stomp and then tossed back into the ring. But eventually, though, Jamie was able to get the pinfall victory. And Jamie Hayter is your new AEW Women's Interim World Champion. Hate that, but man, she deserves it. I mean, the moment she came in, she was one of those people that when she came in, her talents caught my attention. I definitely saw the potential, and again, they worked up, making this feud, because we've seen these two have a few matches before, but they made this from just a mid-card match to a main event match. This was great. Yes, I still feel bad that Toni Storm was never the actual women's champion, and I hope she still gets recognized as the actual women's champion, not the interim women's champion, of course. But this was awesome. And like I said, Jamie Hayter, with how over she was, deserves it. I am just a little surprised, though, that Britt helped Jamie win and she didn't turn on her. At this point, I'm expecting Jamie Hayter being Randy Orton and then Britt Baker's Triple H. We have what Revolution did to Orton when Orton first won the title, and then Britt only helped Jamie just so she could have the easy way to get back to the top. And it may not work at all, but I think personally, now's the time to turn Jamie Hayter babyface. The crowd loves her, they're behind her, let's roll with it. But Jamie Hayter is your new AEW Women's Champion. And then, of course, next, we had the trilogy, the tag title match, with the Acclaimed versus Swerve in Our Glory, Swerve Strickland, and Keith Lee. Of course, at first, Billy Gunn did not go down the ringside because he didn't want his emotions to affect the Acclaimed. And then also, first off, again, my fiance, who usually lets me watch wrestling whenever I go to her place, she, of course, let me watch this show, and she, again, has really become a big fan of the Acclaimed. She actually was pissed at me when I told her that I didn't predict them to win this match, because I still thought they were going to give the belts back to Swerve in Our Glory, so that way they could be the ones to drop the titles to FTR by the end of the year. May still happen, of course, with the Acclaim, but definitely not with Swerve in Our Glory. They are done. They're done. But the match, of course, was great as always. The Acclaim again were massively over. Max Caster did his rapping. Anthony Bowens, just did the Newark, Caesarea, and whatnot. But of course, the big story going into this match again was, could Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland stay on the same page? And unfortunately, they did not, as Keith Lee stuck to his guns. Swerve, though, was still doing anything he could to retain those titles. The big turning point, though, was when Billy Gunn did come out, as Swerve had the pair of clippers again. He was going to smash Max Caster's fingers. Of course, Billy Gunn came out trying to get his hands on Swerve Strickland, but of course, he got held back from even being able to do so, because if he would have gotten involved, then there would have been a DQ. But then I guess they threw Max back in the ring, and then Swerve got in the ring with Keith Lee, was trying to hand him the clippers to do the honors. Keith refused it. It's like, not like this. He tossed the clippers, and he said, I ain't doing it this way. And Swerve then bitch slapped Keith Lee across the face. And that was the final straw, because Keith Lee walked out on Swerve. Left him to hang 2-on-1 with the Acclaimed. And to a lot of people's surprise, but I'm happy they still did this, to reward them for, how over they've gotten. And again, this was not supposed to be what it was. I think this is originally supposed to be just like a filler feud for Swerve and Our Glory before they got to FTR. But with how over the Acclaimed was at All Out, you had to capitalize and put the belts on them. And not give them just a transitional paper reign. But of course, the Acclaimed retain. We're going to be doing Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland now, one-on-one. They're single stars, and they're definitely going to be main event stars. Of course, now, oh boy. Imagine this match at some point. If they didn't want to put the world title on Keith Lee yet, which they may not, because I'm pretty sure they want to get a lot of mileage out of MJF as champion, especially if he's still looking to have the host the bidding war of 2024 once Keith Lee finishes his feud with Swerve, which probably would be by Revolution. Give me, at some point in 2023, Keith Lee versus Samoa Joe for the TNT Championship. Give it to me. At some point, Keith Lee and Claudio Castagnoli for the AEW World title as well. But I think the next big match, once Keith Lee gets past Swerve, which hopefully they'll bring back his O Bask in His Glory chance. Because again, I feel so bad that the fact that his O Bask in His Glory chance got oversaturated for Oh Scissor Me Daddy chance. Hopefully he gets his popularity back though. But man, this whole storyline with the Acclaimed, again, this is basically another Chris Jericho and Shawn Michaels from 2008. Again, this feud was supposed to be like a holdover feud for Swerve and Our Glory. And then, of course, the Acclaimed got over, and you couldn't, pass it up. But yeah, so yeah, that was that match. The Acclaimed retain, and Swerve and Our Glory is no more. And then the main event of the evening, of course, was Jon Moxley versus MJF. The second match they've had for the world title. The first one, again, was back on All Out 2020. Great match. Of course, the crowd was super behind MJF and was booing the crap out of Moxley. And what did Moxley do? He rolled with it and acted like the heel. As, of course, he should have. Which he definitely always shows very great class. Very great, veteran leadership. But he rolled with it. He knew what needed to be done. He rolled with it. And, he had some very crazy spots. Like, there was a spot where MJF, I think, did a pile driver on the apron. And he kayfabe-wise hurt his knee. Well, then Moxley, of course, targets the knee, doing chop blocks. I think he did a power driver on MJF through the table outside the ring, which was insane as well. Just a lot of good near falls. Did an avalanche paradigm shift, or Rough Rider, whatever heck that, or Death Rider, or whatever they're calling Moxley's finisher now. Some very great near falls. But of course, as I said, I'm pretty sure this was all a ruse, and MJF, is not going to cheat to win the typical ways he would. Instead, the person who is the leader of the Blackpool Combat Club, the person who, of course, is the reason why MJF did not become a WWE superstar, William Regal himself, exposed the devil. And whenever Moxley was not looking, slid MJF the brass knuckles. MJF was able to hit the brass knuckles. 1, 2, 3. MJF is your new world champion. Thanks to William Regal. Which was crazy because now, of course, what's next for the Blackpool Combat Club. What does this mean for Bryan Danielson? Which I feel like if you're going to do any feud for Revolution to put over MJF, do MJF and Bryan Danielson next, I think. Because I think that would be a great, feud for... Well, we're going to be probably getting MJF and Ricky Starks for Winter is Coming, which should be great. But I would say give me MJF and Bryan Danielson for Revolution. That's what I would do, to be honest. But I think we are going to see MJF get a nice long title reign. Could be up until his contract expires, too. Especially if you really want to hype the bidding war for 2024. That may be the right way to go. But, of course, we will see, what happens with the BCC. And, of course, MJF going forward as we have a new AEW World Champion. And I would talk more, guys, but that's going to do it here, guys. I'm tired. Again, after tonight, I really don't know when this week we're going to be able to do streams. But I definitely will do the Raw review first, and then definitely do the Raw review, and then Survivor Series preview and predictions will happen first. Because that's the one I want to make sure to get done by the end of the week. So I can always catch up with AEW, SmackDown, and Survivor Series. We have that, but Raw review definitely first. Again, I'm not going to be able to watch Raw tomorrow night, though, so don't send me spoilers. And then, of course, probably the Survivor Series review, AEW review, SmackDown review, Survivor Series review, the review as well, just other odds and ends. But like I said, this week's going to be just nuts. Again, it's the holidays. I have family coming in from out of town. And a couple other things to take care of for my wedding. A couple of things to think about as well for other stuff I gotta worry about. But as always, guys, just be patient with me. But I gave Full Gear a B+. I thought it capitalized on so many levels. All the matches were great. The weakest was definitely the TBS house. Even that was decent. Saraya coming back was awesome. MJF getting his moment was great. The Elite coming back and set up a best of 7 series with Death Triangle, I think is awesome. Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy had an amazing steel cage match, and the Ring of Honor World Title match was also an excellent match. So many great matches on the show. Jamie Hayter having her moment, the Acclaimed retaining in the end of Swerve in Our Glory. I can't hate this show. B+. I gave the show a freaking B+, and it was awesome. This, of course, also will be the last stream that I do have my Twitter handle, DemandAirboy93. Again, that was originally just a random, Twitter handle for when I made my Twitter, just for, personal use. But now, of course, I want to, platform for the channel and consider maybe doing some more social media avenues for the channel. Tonight, what I did, I would have done it when I got home tonight, but I want to, take this away and at least start off, me and maybe diving into other social media aspects by changing my Twitter handle to the Club of the Man 1993. And then maybe slowly work more and more from there. Like I said, I'm considering maybe, making my TikTok a little more of a serious, a little way to platform my channel. Maybe a Facebook page, maybe an Instagram page. All that could happen by the end of the year. But like I said, the first order of business is to change my Twitter handle to the Club of the Man 1993 as well, which we very well may see. And with that, my friends, that's going to do it. Really nothing else in the live chat right now, but I'm tired. I'm going to get ready for bed. I get for work tomorrow. Pretty sure the first 2 days of the week will be rough for work, but then Wednesday hopefully will slow down. And again, just taking care of some business, throughout the week, but definitely enjoy the holiday. So if I don't get to see you, I hope you all have a great Thanksgiving. Anybody, of course, who does any Black Friday shopping, be safe going out there on Black Friday. It's the most wonderful time of the year. I know December's going to be a little bit like a cool down month for wrestling. There's not any pay-per-views or anything going on. But I know we'll be preparing for, Royal Rumble season starting in January, and other things happening. But, we're almost wrapping up the year, and especially with wrestling, it's been a very interesting year in 2022. Some crazy moments happening, from Cody Rhodes jumping ship to WWE to Vince McMahon retiring, media scrum from All Out and whatnot. So many insane things has happened this year. But it's been a fun year for wrestling. So, one more pay-per-view left, Survivor Series. And again, a couple little specials I want to do. Like I said, I definitely want to do a special stream where I share the t-shirts, the wrestling t-shirts on my wish list. And next month, I would like to go back and watch live the Christmas tapings from Raw and SmackDown in 2012 and review those as a retro, because again, those were my first live events I attended. So I would like to go back and review those as a little bit of something fun to do for a retro series. But hopefully that, I'm hoping to maybe get a once Thanksgiving passes, hopefully I can maybe get back on trying to get the rest of the Wolf 3D 30th anniversary thing done. Hopefully get that done by the end of the year. That's my plan. I'm hoping to do. And again, as I continue to consider expanding the channel, hopefully I will be, making some more announcements. Probably going to have to make some updates to the normal graphics. Maybe an updated intro, maybe, I'm not sure yet. But I am considering, doing maybe a little bit of a rebrand. I mean, it's still going to be the club, and I think maybe some new graphics and whatnot going into 2023. We'll see, though. But, yep, I'm going to go to bed now, guys. I'm tired. It's been a fun weekend, but, a lot, has to get done still. Thank you guys again for joining me live for both my SmackDown and my Full Gear review. Again, don't expect a Raw review, maybe not till Wednesday night. Hopefully by then. But I do want to get that and my Survivor Series preview and predictions done, of course, before the pay-per-view on Saturday, which I will be watching live. And, of course, I will, catch up with anything I didn't get done this week for reviews the following week, which I should be able to get pretty much caught up, the following week again. But this week's just going to be nuts with the holidays. Again, I have family coming into town, and I have some other stuff for my wedding got to take care of. And I have scheduled for this week as well. So we'll just roll through. So, guys, once again, give a B+ for AEW Full Gear 2022. Excellent show. What grade would you give Full Gear? What was your match of the night? I am still leaning towards the Elite and Death Triangle as my match tonight, but I also would consider definitely either that, the Ring of Honor World Title match, or that Steel Cage match would probably be my matches of the night, in my opinion. Make sure you guys leave your thoughts down in the comments section below. Be sure as always to slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content on my channel. Follow me on Twitter as well at DemandAirboy93. Until then, guys, I'm checking out. I'll catch y'all later. Again, the last time you'll hear me advise, DemandAirboy93 as my Twitter handle. I am changing it tonight before I go to bed. It'll be the Club of Demand 1993 on Twitter as well. So, guys, until then, I'm checking out. I'll catch you all later. Have a great rest of your night. Hope you have a great start to your week. And again, if we don't get to talk again until then, hope you all have a great and blessed Thanksgiving. Peace out, everybody.